Hello everyone, this presentation will be on the vaccination schedule which we follow here in India, updated as of today, that is 19th of January 2021. After a considerable gap back on YouTube because it is almost exam season and everyone who is exam going in MBBS for final exams knows that vaccination is an important topic which will be asked. It is something which is important from a practice perspective. It is a sure shot Viva station. It is a sure shot exam theory question as well. It is something which everyone will study, something everyone knows is important, and something which everyone forgets and makes a mistake also. So that is why I have taken the time to make this presentation, and more so this year because vaccination is something which is grabbing the headlines. It is something which even common man is speaking about. So with that, we'll come straight into the topic. There are two regimens which we follow here in India. One is the National Immunization Schedule and the other is the Indian Academy of Pediatrics Schedule. Both differ and to put things simply, the National Immunization Schedule is a bare minimum which is a must, and Indian Academy of Pediatrics Schedule is what is desirable. So coming to the NIS schedule, like I was saying, it is a minimum amount of vaccinations to be given to all children. It is given in all government centers free of cost, and the ultimate aim is for 100% coverage of all NIS vaccines to all children all over the country. Coming to this schedule in detail, I have just put a cropped screenshot of it to make it easy to understand. So at birth, 3 vaccines are given. One is BCG. The BCG is given 0.1 ml intradermally in the left upper arm. We all know that BCG is given to prevent serious manifestations of pulmonary tuberculosis early on in life and to prevent against disseminated forms. Secondly, the OPV 0 dose is given 2 drops through oral route. This is again important for Viva's sake, and a stock Viva question is, why is it given as 0 dose? Why the name 0 came? 2 reasons. Number 1, subsequently you will see that there is something called 1, 2 and 3. So initially when they decided to give an earlier dose, rather than renaming everything, it is easier to just name it as 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3 comes in a sequence. And number 2, the 0 dose does not really have any effect on giving immunity. It is more of a priming effect. So when I say priming effect, it primes the immune system so that when the subsequent dose comes, antibodies can be formed easily. So that is the 2 reasons why it is called as 0 dose. The third vaccine given at birth is called hepatitis B. It's a birth dose and it is to be given within 24 hours irrespective of the serological status of the mother. It is given 0.5 ml given intramuscularly in the anterolateral aspect of the mid-thigh. Now the key point here is, a common question can be asked as primary vaccination. All vaccines given at birth are primary vaccines. So primary vaccines refer to BCG, OPV and hepatitis B. Now at 6, 10 and 14 weeks, if you consider, we have OPV, that is the oral polio vaccine, which is given as 2 drops orally. Then you have Pentavac. Pentavac is a short form and is somewhat of a mnemonic. An easy way to remember it is, you have Hep B, you have Haemophilus influenza, diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, hence the name Penta. So it is available as a combination 0.5 ml given intramuscularly over the anterolateral aspect of the thigh. And rotavirus vaccine 1, 2 and 3 doses, which is given at 6, 10 and 14 weeks respectively. So this is relatively straightforward. Penta, as I mentioned, the 5 diseases, it protects against all the 5, OPV against polio and rotavirus against common forms of rotaviral diarrhea. Recent additions into the schedule include an injectable polio vaccine given intradermally in the right upper arm at the 6th and the 14th week. Now moving on, at 9 to 12 months, you can remember it as 9 months for convenience sake, the first dose of MR, M for measles, R for rubella, given 0.5 ml subcutaneously over the right upper arm, and in certain endemic areas, first dose of Japanese encephalitis subcutaneous over the left arm. Then at 16 to 24 months, for simplicity's sake, at UG level you can remember it as 18 months, no harm in that. Here you remember it as 9, here you remember it as 18. that's okay. So you have DPT first booster, diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus given 0.5 ml intramuscularly over the anterolateral aspect of the mid-thigh, along with a booster dose of OPV and second dose of MR. So this is relatively straightforward, as well as with the second dose of Japanese encephalitis in certain endemic areas only. Now at 5th year you have the DPT booster. 10th year you give TD as a single dose. TD is for tetanus. Previously it was given as TT, it has now been changed to TD. So this is one important change which has come into the picture. Subsequently, the national immunization schedule also does have additional vaccines which are included. So a complete national immunization schedule, as you all would have seen from your community medicine book itself, does also mention pregnant mothers. So for them it is recommended to give TD1, TD2 and a TD booster. 2 doses 4 weeks apart, or a booster only if the 2 doses was received within the past 3 years. Now I would like to emphasize one key point. By the end of this year there is a plan to convert all these doses of TD into Tdap. So that is an important point which will help towards NEET, which will also help towards Viva. But the rollout of this might be delayed because of the rollout of the coronavirus vaccine. Time will tell. As of today, this is what we follow in the government setup. So there are no changes in this for now. So with that, we come to the end of the national immunization schedule. Now, to understand the concept of optional vaccines, the national immunization schedule just comprises of a set of important vaccines, and it is a bare minimum. But there are many other vaccine preventable diseases which are not covered under the national immunization schedule. So to protect against those diseases, you have what we call optional vaccines. The name optional rather implies it is optional for a parent to vaccinate it. It is not mandated by the national immunization schedule, but rather it is advised if the patient is affordable to receive the care. In the interest of the child, it is better to vaccinate the child with as many vaccines as available. So to simplify it a little bit further, the national immunization schedule combined with optional vaccines is the IAP schedule for simplicity's sake. This does not, however, take into account the vaccines which are given in special circumstances. So the vaccines in special circumstances can be yellow fever, rabies, and a newer entry into that is coronavirus vaccine as of now. So the special circumstance, of course, being the pandemic, yellow fever indication being travel, and rabies being indicated in case of a dog bite. So minus those special circumstances, to a larger degree, the national immunization schedule plus optional vaccines collectively combines to form the IAP schedule. Now, before starting the IAP schedule, rather than putting up the table which is there in the IAP website in the guidelines recommendation page, I have taken the time to type it out. To make it more clear and easily understandable, I have used a simple color coding system which just listen for a couple of minutes, you will understand the differences. Whatever is shown in blue is already there in the national immunization schedule. Whatever is there in red is different and exceptional in the IAP schedule. So at birth, PCG, hepatitis B and OPV 0 dose is the same. There is no change at birth. Now at 6, 10 and 14 weeks, the national immunization schedule already covers hepatitis B, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus and Hib. So till here we already have Penta. So this is already covered. This is covered in all the three at 6, 10 and 14. Now if you notice, the IPV is given at 6 and 14 weeks in the government schedule. For completion's sake, IAP schedule is recommending you get one extra dose in between, so it becomes IPV 1, 2 and 3. That's all, it's very straightforward. Rotavirus schedule has been introduced into the government schedule only recently. So till now it was there only in the IAP schedule. Now it is available at all centers in the government all across. What is exceptional in the IAP schedule is PCV, which is pneumococcal vaccine, which prevents against pneumococcal pneumonia. So this is a pneumococcal vaccine which prevents against pneumococcal pneumonia. 3 doses given at 6, 10 and 14 weeks is exclusive to IAP schedule at 6, 10 and 14. So as far as 6, 10 and 14 is concerned, don't break your head too much, just remember the table, remember the color coding. I think once you see this, you'll never forget it. Subsequently, at 6 months, you need to give a typhoid conjugate vaccine. The conjugate vaccine is a single dose. And this is something which is controversial and debatable at many times, the influenza annual dose. The minimum dosage, the minimum age rather, at which you can give it to a child is at 6 months. But it is to be given exclusively at the start of the flu season in the month of September. So just understand the concept here. If a child is turning 6 months in the month of May, the child need not be vaccinated with influenza in the month of May. You can vaccinate when the child becomes 9 months at the month of September. If a child is turning 6 months in August, you can go ahead and vaccinate at that time because it is at the start of the influenza season as per standard recommendations. So that is with regard to IAP schedule at 6 months. At 9 months in IAP schedule we give what we call MMR. Measles and rubella is already taken care as per the government schedule. What we are giving is mumps extra protection. So that is the first dose given at 9 months, and meningococcal vaccine is given in selective areas here in India. It is not given widespread throughout. Again, within that you have many sub-brands, you have different subtypes A, C, W, Y and B also. So though there are many subtypes, depending on the endemic areas within India, we are giving it only selectively. If given, it is given at 9 months. At 12 months, we give the first dose of hepatitis A. This is completely new. It was never seen anywhere in the NIS schedule, along with the second dose of meningococcal vaccine. In IAP schedule, because we are giving multiple vaccines at various intervals, they recommend giving the Japanese encephalitis at 12 and 13 months respectively. And the point which I would like to highlight is the pneumococcal vaccine booster is given at 12 months. So please don't forget this. At 12 months, you have 2 new vaccines in the IAP schedule, that is hepatitis A and PCV booster. At 15 months, we give the second dose of MMR. MMR I have already mentioned, along with the first dose of varicella. Varicella, of course, protecting against chickenpox. The logic for giving it around 15 months is common age group to get chickenpox is between 18 to 24 months onwards. So it is roughly more than that. So that is the logic in giving it around 15 months, and being a live vaccine, it is safe to give by that time. The immune system of the child would have developed to a reasonable extent. Subsequently, at 18 months, what we give is the second dose of hepatitis A. Remember, the first dose was given at 12 months, second dose at 18. Along with the booster doses of IPV and DPT booster, which is already there in the government schedule. So you can see that is in blue, and the booster dose of Hib. Now, one key concept to understand, this becomes 4 diseases protected: diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus as well as Hib. So this is collectively known as Quadrivac. Quadrivac plus Hep B becomes Pentavac. Pentavac plus IPV becomes Hexavac. It is nothing very big to understand in that. DPT is a standard combination. DPT plus Hib is Quadrivac. Quadrivac plus IPV is Pentavac. And it is as simple as that, because this is a common thing where people tend to fumble as far as the exams are concerned. I'll just repeat it for one last time. DPT plus Hib is Quadrivac. Quadrivac plus hepatitis B is Pentavac. Hepatitis B, combination of Pentavac plus IPV, collectively is known as Hexavac or EZ6 as the brand names. Now, moving on, at 5 years, the first dose of DPT booster is given along with the third dose of MMR and second dose of varicella. In your spotters, you might also see that there is a combination available of MMR and V, so it is called as MMR-V combination. So if you have a vial of that, nothing to confuse, that you can give it 5 years. The only logic for such combinations is it is easier, more convenient to give a child 1 injection than 2 for compliance sake. And at 10 years, as per the IAP schedule, we recommend Tdap and 2 doses of human papilloma virus 4 weeks apart, given specifically to girls before the onset of adolescence to prevent complications of HPV for them in the future. So with that, I come to the end of this presentation. I hope I have been able to simplify everything so that the concept of vaccination schedule is understood better, and the key differences between the IAP and NIS schedules are highlighted with the color coding systems. Please feel free to go back, rewind the video at the respective spots wherever you felt it was necessary. Take screenshots, make notes in whichever way you feel comfortable, and post listening to this, I hope none of you make any mistakes in a vaccination schedule related question. Thank you, and please do tune in for the next one also.